You've been told all your life that fruit is good for you. But what if I told you that's not always true? Because while some fruits are like nutritional gold, packed with antioxidants, fiber, and brain-boosting benefits, others are basically sugar bombs in disguise. Delicious, yes, but helpful? Not always. Today, we're going to rank the best and worst fruits for your health, energy, and blood sugar, using 3 simple rules. Rule number 1. Is the fruit nutrient dense? Meaning, does it bring more to the table than just sugar and water? Rule number 2. How does it affect your metabolism? Does it keep your blood sugar steady? Or send it on a roller coaster ride? Rule number 3. Can you eat it without going overboard? Because let's be honest, some fruits are way too easy to overeat. We're breaking down over 20 fruits. Everything from bananas and berries to mangoes and melons. And by the end, you'll know which ones deserve a spot in your daily diet, and which ones should probably stay in the fruit bowl untouched. One of these fruits is basically nature's version of Ozempic. High fiber, low sugar, insanely filling. Another? It spikes your blood sugar like a slice of cake. We've got some surprises, a few hot takes, and yes, a crowned king, and a fruit that's headed straight to F-tier hell. Let's dive into the best and worst fruits. Ranked, rated, and roasted. Let's kick things off with one of the most misunderstood fruits on the list. Grapes. Now don't get me wrong. Grapes are tasty, portable, and rich in antioxidants like resveratrol. That's the compound linked to heart health and anti-aging. But here's the issue. Grapes are almost too easy to eat. A single cup packs over 23 grams of sugar, and they won't fill you up for long. It's like snacking on jelly beans with a health halo. For that reason, grapes land in D tier. Great in moderation, but not your daily go-to. Next up, blueberries. These little guys are the MVPs of the fruit world. Low in sugar, high in fiber, and absolutely loaded with antioxidants. In fact, studies show they improve memory, reduce inflammation, and help regulate blood sugar, especially in older adults. You could honestly eat a cup a day and be better for it. S tier, no question. But before we continue, this content is provided for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider with any questions about your health or a medical condition. And now for something a bit controversial. Bananas. Bananas are convenient, sure. They come in their own wrapper. But when it comes to blood sugar, they're not the best. A medium banana has around 14 grams of sugar and barely any fiber to slow it down. Plus, they ripen fast. And the riper they are, the faster they spike your glucose. If you're active or need quick energy, bananas are fine. But for most people, especially those watching insulin levels, they're a C-tier fruit. Let's pivot to something tropical. Mangoes. Now mangoes are delicious. Almost too delicious. They've got vitamin C, yes, and they taste like vacation. But they're also one of the highest sugar fruits you can buy. One mango has about 45 grams of sugar. That's more than a can of Coke. And because the texture is soft and smooth, it's easy to overeat without realizing it. Bottom line, mangoes live in D tier. Great on occasion, not ideal for every day. On the other hand, avocados, yes, they're fruits, are basically nature's multivitamin. They're rich in heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, potassium, fiber, and even folate. And because they have almost no sugar, they're extremely blood sugar friendly. Toss half an avocado on your breakfast plate and you'll stay full for hours. That's an easy A tier. Let's give pineapple a quick moment. It's sweet, tangy, and high in vitamin C. Plus it contains bromelain, a compound that aids digestion. But it's also very sugary, clocking in at 16 grams per cup. And for some folks, especially those with sensitive stomachs, the acidity can be a little rough. So we'll place pineapple in the C tier. Enjoyable, but watch your portions. And now, let's talk about the fruit that's secretly sabotaging trail mix everywhere. Dried dates? These are basically nature's caramels, and that's not a compliment. Just 3 dates have over 60 grams of sugar. And since they're dried, they don't fill you up. They go straight to your bloodstream. No fiber, no breaks. That's a firm F tier. Next on the docket, apples. The classic, the dependable, the keeps the doctor away favorite. Apples are rich in fiber, especially pectin, which supports gut health and may help lower cholesterol. They're also hydrating and easy to portion. The catch? Depending on the type, apples can contain anywhere from 17 to 23 grams of sugar per medium fruit. Not terrible, but not low either. If you're pairing it with a protein or fat, it's a great snack. But on its own, it might not be as blood sugar friendly as you'd think. We're placing apples solidly in C tier. Good, not elite. Now let's switch gears with something a bit more exotic. Guava. This tropical fruit doesn't get enough love. It's one of the highest fiber fruits out there, with over 9 grams per cup. And it's absolutely packed with vitamin C, potassium, and antioxidants. Plus, it's surprisingly low in sugar for how sweet it tastes. Guava isn't always easy to find, but if you can get your hands on it, it's an A's tier powerhouse. Think of it as the overachiever in the fruit basket. Let's talk oranges. Classic breakfast staple, right? They're rich in vitamin C and hydration, and they've got a decent fiber to sugar ratio if you eat the whole fruit. Not juice. That's the catch. Orange juice is basically sugar water, but a medium orange only has around 12 grams of sugar, and it digests more slowly thanks to the pulp. So if you're eating the fruit, not drinking it, oranges land safely in B tier. On the lower end, we've got lychees. These are sweet little flavor bombs, popular in Asian desserts and cocktails. But 1 cup of lychees has nearly 29 grams of sugar. There's not much fiber, and they offer minimal satiety. Nutrients? Some vitamin C, sure, but not enough to justify the spike. If you're diabetic or watching your blood sugar, lychees can be deceptively harmful. They sit right next to dried fruit in F tier. Here's one that deserves more credit. Blackberries. These things are nutritional dynamite. Only 7 grams of sugar per cup, but a whopping 8 grams of fiber. That's rare. Plus, blackberries are high in vitamin K, manganese, and anthocyanins. The dark pigments linked to brain and heart health. They're a great snack, dessert topper, or smoothie add-in. S tier without a doubt. Let's touch on watermelon. Now I know. It's refreshing, especially in summer, and it feels hydrating. But watermelon has a high glycemic index, which means it spikes blood sugar quickly. A cup has around 10 grams of sugar and almost no fiber to slow it down. It's also easy to eat 4 or 5 cups without blinking. So while it's not toxic, it's not great for steady energy either. That puts watermelon in D tier. Fun sometimes, but not often. Next up is strawberries. Here's a fruit that gets it right. Low in sugar, just 7 grams per cup, and high in vitamin C, antioxidants, and fiber. Plus, they're easy to pair with yogurt, cottage cheese, or just a handful of nuts. In terms of flavor and function, strawberries are an A-tier win. Let's move to something humble but powerful. Raspberries. These tiny berries don't just taste good, they're one of the highest fiber fruits out there. 1 cup gives you a solid 8 grams of fiber with only about 5 grams of sugar. That's a fantastic ratio, especially if you're trying to manage blood sugar or improve digestion. They also contain ellagic acid, an antioxidant linked to reduced inflammation and cancer protection. For nutrient density and blood sugar control, raspberries are an easy A tier. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got fruit juice. Yes, we know. It's convenient, marketed as healthy, and comes in fancy bottles. But here's the truth. Fruit juice is stripped of its fiber, which means all the sugar goes straight into your bloodstream. Even 100% juice or cold-pressed options are often just cleverly packaged sugar water. 1 12-ounce glass of orange juice has the same sugar as 3 whole oranges, and none of the fiber. That lands fruit juice squarely in F-tier hell. It's fruit with the brakes removed. Back to the positives. Kiwis, small, fuzzy, and surprisingly nutritious. Kiwis are high in vitamin C, potassium, and fiber, especially if you eat the skin. Most people peel them, but the skin is edible and adds even more nutrients. They're also known for supporting digestion and helping with sleep due to their serotonin content. A medium kiwi has just about 6 grams of sugar. Tasty, gentle on blood sugar, and easy to portion. That's a B-tier fruit. Quietly excellent. Let's swing over to papaya. This one's a bit of a wild card. It's got decent vitamin C, some folate, and the digestive enzyme papain. But it's also fairly sugary, about 11 grams per cup, and lower in fiber than other tropical fruits. Texture-wise, it's hit or miss. Some people love it, others find it mushy or bland. It's not bad, but it's not a standout either. We'll park papaya in the B tier, useful, but not essential. Now let's talk dried raisins. This might sting, because raisins have been in your oatmeal and trail mix since childhood. But nutritionally, they're a trap. A small box of raisins, the kid-sized one, has over 25 grams of sugar. That's more than a glazed donut. And since the water's removed, there's almost no satiety. You eat them, and you're hungry again 5 minutes later. Raisins land in the same pit as dates. F tier. Time for a dark horse. Pomegranate. Often overlooked because it's a bit of work to eat, but totally worth it. Pomegranate seeds are rich in polyphenols, especially punicolagens, which support heart health and reduce inflammation. 1 cup of seeds gives you around 7 grams of fiber and just under 14 grams of sugar. Not bad, considering the payoff. Pomegranates are a solid A-tier fruit. They take effort, but they deliver. Let's bring in the classic citrus underdog, grapefruit. Low in sugar, high in vitamin C and flavonoids. Grapefruit has long been linked to weight management and metabolic support. Just watch out if you're on medications. It can interact with statins and blood pressure drugs. Assuming no interactions, grapefruit earns a respectable spot in B tier. Now, let's move on to a crowd favorite, pears. Pears are often overshadowed by apples, but nutritionally, they might actually edge them out. A medium pear offers about 6 grams of fiber, much of it soluble, which supports digestion and heart health. They also contain antioxidants like flavonols and vitamin C, and they're relatively low on the glycemic index, especially when eaten with the skin. The sugar content sits around 17 grams, but the fiber helps buffer it well. Overall, pears earn a solid place in B tier, dependable, balanced, and versatile. Now, let's look at a fruit with some misconceptions. Cherries. Cherries are rich in antioxidants like anthocyanins and melatonin, which can help reduce inflammation and improve sleep. That's great. But they also pack more sugar than you might expect. Roughly 18 grams per cup, and they're small and easy to overeat, which means 1 cup can quickly turn into 3. If you can control portions, cherries are beneficial. But due to the sugar density and snackability, we'll place cherries in C tier, healthy with a side of moderation. Hold up. Did you know inflammation is one of the biggest causes of cancer, heart disease, and aging? And most people are making it worse with what they eat. That's why I put together the Anti-Inflammation and Immunity Smoothie and Juice Guide. 80+ science-backed recipes designed to stop inflammation, boost immunity, and help your body heal. Grab your copy now from the video description below. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have blackberries, already mentioned but worth reinforcing. When you're getting 8 grams of fiber and only 7 grams of sugar per cup, plus brain-boosting polyphenols, it's hard to beat. Their blood sugar impact is minimal and they're highly filling. If you're diabetic or insulin resistant, blackberries should be a go-to. Already crowned S tier and still holding strong, here's one that surprises a lot of people. Plums. Plums have a modest sugar load, about 7 grams per fruit. and contain sorbitol, a sugar alcohol that can aid with regularity. They're also a source of vitamin K and antioxidants, but they're small, often eaten in pairs or more, and can trigger digestive upset in some people if consumed too quickly. We'll put plums in C tier, helpful, but context matters. Now, a controversial inclusion: cranberries. The raw ones. Raw cranberries are tart, extremely low in sugar, and packed with polyphenols that support urinary tract health and reduce inflammation. The problem? Almost no one eats them raw. Most cranberries are sweetened, either dried or juiced, and that's where the damage happens. Dried cranberries can hit 26 grams of sugar per quarter cup. That's candy territory. So raw cranberries? B tier for their therapeutic value. Sweetened ones? F tier for sneaky sugar sabotage. Let's give a nod to melon, specifically cantaloupe. It's high in vitamin A and C, low in calories, and relatively gentle on blood sugar compared to watermelon. A cup contains about 13 grams of sugar and some hydration benefits too. It's not fiber-rich, but it's refreshing and easy to digest. Cantaloupe earns a fair spot in B tier. Light, nutritious, but not particularly filling. Next up is figs, especially fresh ones. Figs contain fiber, calcium, and antioxidants, but they're also very high in sugar, about 16 grams per 2 medium figs. Dried figs, like raisins, are even worse. Fresh figs occasionally? C tier. Dried figs? D tier at best. Enjoy sparingly. So after sorting through the tangy, the sugary, and the secretly unhealthy, it's time to name names. Best of the best? That honor goes to blueberries. Hands down. They check every box. Low in sugar, high in fiber, packed with antioxidants, especially anthocyanins, which have been linked to improved memory, cardiovascular support, and reduced inflammation. Blueberries are easy to eat, easy to portion, and gentle on blood sugar. Whether fresh or frozen, they're a daily health win. That's an S+ tier fruit, the gold standard. Now, let's flip the script. The worst fruit? The one that looks healthy, but behaves like dessert in disguise? Dried fruit medleys, raisins, dates, dried cranberries with added sugar. Take the crown for F tier hell. These are concentrated sugar bombs, often stripped of fiber and padded with additives. You can consume more sugar in a few handfuls than a slice of cake. And they don't fill you up. They just leave you reaching for more. For anyone managing weight, blood sugar, or cravings, they're the ultimate backfire. So if you're picking your daily fruit, skip the shrink-wrap stuff and reach for the real, whole thing. Your body, and your blood sugar, will thank you. So there you have it. Over 20 fruits, ranked from superfood status to straight-up sabotage. Remember, fruit isn't just about flavor. It's about fiber, blood sugar, nutrients, and how you actually feel after eating it. The goal isn't to cut fruit out, it's to eat smarter with a little more intention. If you found this helpful, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I break down food myths, label lies, and healthy options that don't always live up to the hype. And if you want to know which protein bars are secretly candy bars in disguise, that's coming up next. Trust me, it's eye-opening. Until then, go enjoy some blueberries, and maybe give those dried dates a long vacation from your pantry. See you in the next one.